going on, guys? Well, because Batman vs. Superman is coming out this Friday, I'm seeing the movie tomorrow. I'm pumped. I am very pumped. I'm skeptical, but I am pumped. I'm going to go into the movie right now. I'm like at an 8. I'm going to go in the last 10 minutes before I see this movie. I will be at a 10. I cannot wait to see this movie. And because I really don't have anything going on today, I thought, why not talk about Man of Steel and get that review out of the way? I wasn't around in 2013 reviewing movies. I mean, I was, but I took a hiatus, and I didn't have time to review Man of Steel. And rewatching the film, I've seen it 4 times, and I want to talk about it. But before I get into that, I want to let you guys know my thoughts on the entire Superman and Batman films as a whole, because I'm reviewing Man of Steel. So I'm going to talk about each one quickly and then move on to my review of Man. So you guys know this review is going to contain spoilers. You have been warned. Movies. Superman the movie came out in 1978, and I remember my father and my mother telling me seeing this movie for the first time really captivated people. It is a fantastic film that features a great villain, a great portrayal by the great Christopher Reeve to this day, who is still the best Superman. I love this movie. It is a bit long, so for that reason, I love Superman the movie. I give it an A-. Superman 2 is the sequel everybody wanted. This is by far my favorite Superman movie so far. It's an absolute revelation. It's my favorite one of the Superman films so far, including a great battle between General Zod. It's a fun movie. Cherry was one of the most disappointing movies of my life. One of the funniest comedians of all time, Richard Pryor, didn't really help. The movie is terrible. Bizarro was really underwhelmed and just not a movie to see. Superman 4: The Quest for Peace is one of the worst movies of all time. This movie is literally shit. It's terrible, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Superman Returns was a movie I was really anticipating, seeing the guy who did X-Men 2 and X-Men, and it was disappointing. While there's some aspects I liked, I didn't like a lot, and it was 2.5 hours and really no action, and that was really disappointing. Superman real quick. Batman 1989 is an awesome movie. I love this movie. Jack Nicholson is great. Michael Keaton is great. Love this movie. I give it an A. Batman Returns is a great movie. It has flaws, but man, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, hot. Danny DeVito was great as the Penguin, and it is a great movie. I give it an A-. Batman Forever is once again one of the most disappointing movies of my life. This movie was incredibly great. It has some great performances. It has a great Batman, and the lead is Val Kilmer, but the movie automatically just made a mess, and Schumacher can suck my dick. Also, let's talk about Batman and Robin. I did my why I hate on this. You guys know how I feel about it. It's one of the worst movies of all time, one of the worst comic book movies of all time. So let's move past it. Batman Begins was the way that people wanted this movie to be. It was the movie that everybody wanted, and man, did it pay off. Batman Begins was great. My only flaw is Katie Holmes. I didn't think she was as good as I wanted it to be, but I love Batman Begins. A. The Dark Knight is one of my favorite films of all time. It isn't to this day. If I had to pick a top 10, which I can't, it would be in there. Dark Knight is still my favorite of the whole Batman franchise. It is if people say what is the greatest superhero movie of all time, I would say The Dark Knight. It's hard because the whole Dark Knight trilogy is my favorite superhero movie, and I love this movie. Heath Ledger, absolutely fantastic in his Oscar-winning performance. Christian Bale, everybody was great. Even Harvey Dent, Two-Face, great by Aaron Eckhart. Love this movie. A+. The Dark Knight Rises, in my opinion, is very overlooked. I love every single second of this movie. It featured a great villain by the name of Bane, featured a great hero and the best portrayal of Bruce Wayne we have ever seen in the movies, and the way he redeems himself. Also, Catwoman, great. Yes, it has how to get back into Gotham. I don't care. I love The Dark Knight Rises. I give it an A+. So I really like Man of Steel. A lot of people either hate it or love it, or in the middle. I love it. I think this movie is great. This was the Superman movie I wanted to see, and I love this movie for what it is. It is a fun movie. It's a great movie. People said it got Clark Kent and Superman wrong. I think it got him great, and I think it's a great movie. I like how the movie focuses on Krypton in some ways. You see the characters, you get to know Krypton a lot better, and it's great. Henry Cavill is Superman. He is great. He's taken on that role. While he will never be lived up to the role that Christopher Reeve has, he is a great Superman. I love him in this movie. He is absolutely great. He has morals. He has flaws. Every human does, and the way that Zack Snyder did this was great. Zack Snyder's direction is great in this movie. I like Zack Snyder. I like Watchmen. I love 300, which is my favorite one of his. It's an underrated movie. But I love Zack Snyder. This might be my favorite direction Zack Snyder has done so far. It is absolutely great, and I love General Zod, played by Michael Shannon. I love Michael Shannon, and he is absolutely fantastic as General Zod. Also, Russell Crowe, man, he skills this movie. He's great as Jor-El, taking on Marlon Brando. And yes, we do see that General Zod kills Russell Crowe, and it's hard to believe that he kills Jor-El. He goes up and these guys do it. But the thing I love most about Man of Steel is the origin of Superman. The flashbacks that we get are absolutely riveting. Kevin Costner stole this movie. He stole the movie. He's absolutely riveting. He is afraid. He is afraid of Clark saying these superheroes, they're not going to like you. They're going to, because you're different. You're different. You don't know what it's like. These people they're not going to understand you. And the way this movie handles it is absolutely revelation. The story with him grabbing the bus, getting people out, and the way he delves into these characters. The story. This is a great look at what he was trying to be because he became a hero. Diane Lane is great as Martha Kent. She's still my favorite Ma Kent I think we've ever had. Also great in this movie is Amy Adams as Lois Lane. People say she doesn't have the brown hair. People say she doesn't have the brown hair. I don't care. I love Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Lawrence Fishburne is great as is great in this film as well. I think you have to admit this movie has flaws. It does have flaws. It really does. And we'll get to that in a second. I like how the battle between General Zod and him, but I think the movie stands as an origin. And the origin of this movie absolutely stole the movie from me. I love the origin of this film. You get a lot more about that. You get a lot of conversations. The way how General Zod is a fantastic villain who, yes, he has flaws. Yes, he has a way, but he delved into Superman saying that he wants Krypton to be that. And I think the movie holds up rather well. I've seen the film 4 times. I really enjoy this movie. But my biggest problem with the movie was the way Pa Kent died. I did not like the tornado. Yes, it emotioned me. But after rewatching it, I think the way of killing him off wasn't much. But I understand something from it. If Pa Kent died, he didn't think Superman should be revealed yet. And the way how he died did make me upset. But he knew that he was meant for something. And he didn't want to get him into that yet. And that's why he did that. But the tornado thing was stupid. I will admit that. The tornado thing was stupid. But the way how I got from that movie was interesting. Also, General Zod's not a bad guy. He doesn't have to be. He has flaws. He has stuff. He wants this to be Krypton. And the way he does that is great. I love the conversation between him and Lois in the interrogation room. Where she goes, what does the S stand for? And the S stands for hope. Here it's an S. How about super? And then you get the cutscene. Also, everyone said the military wasn't great. I enjoyed the military. My biggest problem with the movie is it is bloated action. There's a lot of CGI, especially in the second half, but I think it handles it well. It is a rather long movie, but it keeps going. I gotta talk about the last battle. There is some stuff around in that scene where you understand the characters. There's a lot going on. I did not like how back on Earth they had to save this girl from a rock. I didn't like that. I didn't think you needed that. But I love this movie for what it is. And the way how Zod and Superman in the end, and how Superman, because they crashed, and this was my favorite part of the entire movie, was when Superman and Zod are back in the little arena. And there's people, and he blasts his eyes, and he says, if you care for them, then you can die with them. And he starts flashing his lights toward these people. And Superman breaks to the point where he kills Zod. And he gets scarred. And the scene where he yells, flaws, because he's going to regret this for the rest of his life. He killed somebody. He's going to regret this for the rest of his life. And that's going to consume him for the longest time. What was he supposed to do? Those people were going to die. And he did what he had to do, and the moment he screams and Lois coming to help him is a very relatable thing. The end of the movie where he goes to being Clark Kent, you introduce him to the Daily Planet. I liked that. I also loved where we're talking about him and the relationship they had, and they saw him as a boy with a cape and going like this. This movie is inspirational. Hans Zimmer's score absolutely is emotional. I like working out to that score. Guys, I love this movie. It has flaws. But I think Man of Steel is a movie people need to see. And for that reason, I'm going to give Man of Steel an A minus. Guys, that is my thoughts on Man of Steel. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about Batman versus Superman. I am seeing it tomorrow night. Look forward for my review early Wednesday morning, guys. I cannot wait to see that movie. Let's hope it does not suck. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this, like, share, subscribe to your friends, and have a great Christmas day.